everybody. Hello, how you doing? Welcome. Welcome to Splash Studio. I'm Charlie Newton, your art teacher, and I'm so glad that you decided to join us today for another fun art project. Splash is a free art school for kids. I think that art should be free for everybody, and everybody deserves the right to be creative. So for kids 4 to kids 94, since we are live on Facebook, feel free to take this class no matter what your age. So today we're going to have another exciting project. This time we're going to draw a volcano. What we've been doing is we've been focusing on shapes, and we talked a little bit over the last few weeks about abstract art. We talked about balance and things like that. So today I wanted to do a certain process. This process is called tempera batik. It's one of my strongest processes that I do with my personal work. I learned it when I was in the 12th grade from Mrs. Charlie May Hurt. Many of you may know her, art teacher at Riverside High School, and I've used it throughout my art career in my drawings, because it's just a lot of fun to do. You get a chance to be very creative. So we're going to draw a volcano, but we're going to create it. I'm going to create it in my mind. We're not drawing from life. Every now and then we will draw from life, but right now I want us to draw from our imagination and using shapes. And once you can see shapes, once you can find shapes, the circle, the triangle, the square, the oval, the rectangle, trust me, you will be able to draw anything. So before we get started, I want to remind you to go to our website. On our website, you can find other great things. You can see how to support Splash. We're giving away art supplies now. It's hard to control the art supplies because we're giving them away. And you can see some of the things we've done in the past, and you can see who we are. And the website is SplashYouthArtsWorkshop.org. That's SplashYouthArtsWorkshop.org. And I hope that everyone is well. I want you to remember to mask up. As you can see, I have my mask on, and as you can see, I never go anywhere without my mask. I want to keep my neighbor safe. I want to keep my family members safe, and I want to be safe as well. So remember to wear your mask and to practice social distancing until this pandemic is over with. Okay, let's do that. So I can take my mask off now. It was raining today, rainy out there outside in Chattanooga, so I had my splash cap on. I can take that off, and let's get started. So what you're going to need is a pencil. You can use your 2B pencil. You're going to need your pastels. We're using craypas, but we're using oil pastel. Don't use the chalk pastel on this project. And you're going to need watercolors. We're only going to use the black paint this time. We're going to use the black paint, I think. I think that will be fun. Usually we don't use black paint, and I know kids love black paint, so this time we'll get a chance to use some black paint, but we're going to use a whole lot of color, and that's why I think it's going to be fun. So in my mind, I'm thinking about a volcano. What's the basic shape of a volcano? You tell me. Did somebody say triangle? Very good. So what I want to do is I'm going to draw a volcano, and let's give it a bird's eye view, because I want to show maybe a village in the at the bottom of the volcano, okay? And maybe a forest too, maybe a village and some trees. I want to show lava coming out of the volcano, flowing down into the village, okay? This will be fun. One of my students love to draw volcanoes. So the first thing I want you to do, we're going to go to the left side of the paper. This side here is the left side of the paper. And the reason why I'm going to start this volcano on the left side is because the left side of your paper, I'm going to use this ruler to divide the paper. This side of the paper carries more visual weight. Remember, art is a visual language. And since we in the West read from left to right, automatically, this side of the paper, the left side, is going to carry more weight. So if you want something, a figure to be important, it could be a person or an object, you want to tend to put it more to the left. You don't want it in the middle necessarily, and not the right side. The right side carries less weight. So if you want things to sort of float, you tend to have them on the right side, upper right side, okay? And so we're going to draw an oval. This is like 1, 2, 3, 4. 1/4 or 1/4 of the way. If I divide this paper into 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, really it's 5. 5 equal parts. And 1/4 of the way, and to the top of the paper, I want to draw an oval. You see that? Sketch it though. Don't press down on the paper. Sketch an oval. The reason why I wanted you to sketch that oval is I wanted to show you how to try to make this oval look like a hole and try to make it look sort of three-dimensional as the lava is coming out. Now, it's not an easy thing to do, and it's not hard to do. So we're going to do the best we can. Now, what I'm going to do is imagine a triangle coming down from that oval shape. On the left side, this triangle is going to, I've drawn a slanted line like this, and it will run off the paper. We don't try to fit things into the paper. I mean, we think about that at the beginning, fitting things in, but if something runs out off the paper, it's okay. If we want to show more of the object, we would just redraw the object smaller. Now, draw the right side of the volcano. See, it's large. It's like a large triangle. These lines don't have to be straight. Matter of fact, you want it to be kind of wavy, because we're going to turn those lines into lava. Now, at the bottom of the triangle, we're not going to, let's just, remember when we drew a cone? Let's sort of sketch in a round shape like that, just like the cone that we drew. Okay? I want to show you that cone. Could you hand me the cone, Iantha?
Oh, sure.
My wife, Iantha, who's also an artist, is taping and filming. She's at the controls, and she's helping me. So, a couple of classes ago, we drew a still life, and we drew a cone. It stuck. So, this is the cone that we drew. See? So you can see how the bottom is round, the top is round. This is the basic shape of the volcano. So what we did visually, we just cut the cone here to get that wide opening, Okay? and we made the bottom of the cone a little wider. So that's why we practice drawing shapes. Remember, everything consists of shapes. Now what I want to do is I want to imagine a landscape behind this volcano. So we're just drawing shapes. So maybe you could draw this halfway or 1/3 of the way up the volcano and just draw a line. It doesn't have to be straight, but this is going to be the land or the ground. We just want to know where everything belongs. In drawing and painting, draw larger shapes first, smaller shapes last. So we draw the basic shapes so that we know where everything goes. We are composing a picture. So now we have a cone, and it seems like it could be sitting on a table. But this part is going to be the ground, and this is going to be the volcano. Let's put some mountains in the background. So I'm going on this side of the volcano and draw a mountain. Then I'm going to go on the right side and draw a mountain. I'm making this up as I go, okay? This is going to be a night scene, I think. We're going to color with the craypas, the cray pastels. So the mountains are just wavy lines. We just want to know where everything goes, okay? I was going to put a village down here. And to do the village, I'm going to do some rectangles and squares shaped like this, okay? It's like a city. Let's put a city down there. Look how small I'm making it. We did some cubes. Could you hand me a cube, Anthony? Hand me the rectangular shaped cube. Now it takes practice doing these type of shapes, but we drew this cube. It's like drawing a brick, right? And so this is like a mountain. I'm sorry, this is like a building, a skyscraper. If you can imagine windows, and you can make shorter or longer, it could sit like that. Remember, everything's made up of shapes. And we did overlapping. Now for the younger kids, you can just draw rectangles and squares. It's still going to look good. If you just drew rectangles and squares like this, that will still look right. Don't worry. But just make sure they are smaller than this large cone shape. Now we're going to use some more triangles, small triangles. I'm drawing a bunch of them, a lot of them, for trees. The closer I get to this line here, the smaller the triangles are going to be. Those are going to be trees. See, if I just put a line there, and don't take a long time doing this, because we're going to color all over this anyway. We're going to color and paint. So we're going to do a lot of trees. also look like popsicle sticks. We don't need a lot of detail here. Okay? Just remember, these shapes are trees. They could be ovals and circles. See, I'm doing circles. They can overlap. I just want a lot of shapes like trees there. Okay, and you can finish. Draw more later if I get ahead of you. So you can use circles and a line, because these are trees in the distance. They're so small you can't see detail. So I'm doing circles and triangles. Yeah, circles and triangles with lines going through them. Now, and the buildings, let's go ahead and put some windows. They're just little tick marks lined up for windows in the buildings. Little hatch marks, little tick marks straight up and down. But you want to line them up. And we're going to trace over these with craypas in just a minute. So those are the windows. We don't have to make squares because the buildings are so small. This is a city. What city has volcanoes, I wonder? Maybe some of the cities in South America. And some of you may decide to put your buildings on fire if you want to. I'm going to put some little things like for fire. We're going to paint those yellow. When we paint the fire, it's going to be yellow. Okay, let's go back to the sky. Now, the sky, you can have clouds. They're all kind of shapes. I think I'm going to have dark clouds in my sky. You can have lightning bolts. I don't know, I just feel like drawing something with a lot of, that's exciting today, you know, you can have rain coming down. It's like the end of the world, okay? So see, when I do the lightning bolts, I do a zigzag line like that, and then I do another line. We call that double line. And let it come to a point. Now, this is just our idea of lightning bolts. Later on, in a few weeks, we're going to do more realistic landscapes. But right now, if you can just have your symbols, these are like symbols that we're drawing now. And if you have symbols, you have the basic shapes of things. Then when you do something that's realistic, your mind can give it expression, because the way we are drawing right now is very expressive. When you start drawing from life, you can lose some of that energy, and we want that powerful energy in our art. Okay, now let's do the volcano. I want to see if you guys can do this. Go back to the volcano, the top, there's an oval. I want you to do a double line on that oval like this. At the top of the oval. To show the rim of this volcano. The volcano is like a mountain, and this is like a symbol for a volcano. An actual volcano wouldn't look as perfect. The oval wouldn't look so perfect. And then the inside line of this oval, I want you to draw it, and it doesn't have to be perfect. Matter of fact, I'm going to make it wavy. I want that to be the lava as it folds over the rim. So I'm drawing a rim like a cup. Like this cup I'm drinking out of, it has a rim. I want it to look like there's an inner portion of this volcano, like the cup, like you can go down in it. Now your volcano, when we finish, this is just a way to do it. Your volcano, you can add stuff to your volcano. So on the left side, I'm going to have lava just shooting out on the left side. It's running over like that. See these jagged lines? Then I'm going to let it trail up and then come down again. Then trail up like that, jagged lines. Like it's oozing out of the volcano. Then at the bottom, I connect the line like that. I'm gonna let that one run off the page like this. Then I have this come all the way up like that, then it's gonna come down, then come down, and run into the city. Then on this side, I'm gonna have it shooting out. You can do yours your way. This is how I'm doing mine. Don't have it shoot out. It can shoot that way, into the city. And I don't know what color your lava is going to be. Okay. And you're going to get creative. You're going to use whatever colors you want to. So this is basically the drawing. So don't get confused. This part is the lava. And I want you to shade the part that's the mountain. Make it darker so that you can see it. Just shade it because it's easy to get confused. Okay. And the dark part, and you can color that in later, that's going to be rocks and mountain and all that. So I'm putting these lines in here to make it look like it's rocks. Squiggly lines. Now when we color, I want you to, don't forget, if you have clouds, the clouds, I'm going to make my clouds dark. Don't confuse the clouds with the sky. Now the sky is going to be black, but you're going to leave white paper. We're going to use black paint for the sky, not black pastels. Okay? We're not going to use black pastels. Do not use black pastels. We're only going to use black paint. So whatever we want to be black, we're going to leave white. All the blacks is going to be left white, basically. You see how complex this got really quick? But we started with simple shapes. Now, we can start coloring. My suggestion is that you color the lava first because that's the hardest part of it. What color should the lava be? I have the orange, maybe?
Yeah, nice fire color.
Okay, so I can have my orange craypas. I'm just going to do the lava first. I could have made it yellow. Now, you see, I'm leaving some paper. This doesn't have to be solid. I don't want it to be solid. And with craypas, you don't have to put a lot of pressure on this. on the crayon. You could break it. But leave some white of the paper. Wherever we leave white, it's going to be black when we paint it automatically. Then don't forget, this is very important, this rim here, the rim of the volcano. Make sure you do that part. Very important, not to forget that. Now some of you are going to have things coming up out of the volcano like this. That's great. You can do that. You can have lava coming out, shooting out like that. Like this, you see? Do it however you want to. I'm just getting you started, but it's your artwork. And your art looks different than mine. When you paint the lava going down into the city, I mean when you color around the trees and the buildings. It could be on the bottom of the buildings, the floor or the ground, but you don't want it on the buildings itself. You can have a little bit on the buildings, it's okay. But have the orange or the yellow, whatever you're using, interspersed in between the trees. Hopefully it'll look like the lava is spreading out and flowing out into the city. Now, I never know what my art is going to look like until it's finished. So I try to plan, but if I plan too much, then good things can't happen. So I try to plan a little bit, but I'm always willing to change my mind on some things. Now I'm going to color some of the trees. I'm going to use a light green. I don't have a dark green in here. You have new Splash students. You have new packs of craypas, so you'll probably have some dark green in there. This is the old pack I'm using. See, I might have another pack. No, I don't. So if you want your trees to be a color other than green, that's fine. Just do one thing at a time. If your colors if you put some, like if you color something in the wrong place, it don't matter. It'll make the picture look better. Your trees don't have to be green, they could be red. You can use whatever colors you want to. Now I'm going to use some yellow. I'm going to put some yellow on my buildings. The yellow is going to be fire. My buildings are on fire because lava is hot, so the buildings are on fire. Now, what colors am I going to make the building? I don't know, but I would say trace the buildings and draw the barks of the trees. I mean, the trunk of the trees. See these? I'm going to use brown to draw the trunk of the trees. Use just the corner of my craypas. So I've already drawn. I'm just tracing what I've already done. Take your time. Sometimes you can get lost, but if you take your time, you will see what you're doing. We're going to do some simpler things on Saturday. Our class will start at 11 o'clock. We may do a cartoon face or something like that. Now color your buildings whatever colors you want. I'm using some flesh tones for my buildings. Use whatever color you want to. It's kind of like pink. Then I'm going to put some pink in other places. So just go ahead and color your picture. I'm going to put some pink in the clouds. Because remember I was talking about balance the other day? And we want balance with color as well. I'm going to put some of this flesh tone on the volcano. Then I'm going to go back with some darker color like brown. Now, you know, the funny thing is that in pictures like these, usually your pictures will look better than mine. Children have really great imaginations. Unless they start thinking negative, saying they can't do something. But you can do all things. You can do whatever you put your mind to. All you have to do is try. Nothing beats a failure but a try. If you do your best, that's good enough. So you could use brown in your mountain. The volcano is nothing but a mountain. Or you could use red, or you can use whatever color you want to. I'm using brown just so that you can see what it looks like. So as you can see, we have a lot of craypas on our picture. And that's what I want. Because remember, we're going to use black paint. Now go back into your picture and use whatever colors you want to. I'm going to put some dark blue in my sky. I'm even going to put some of that in the volcano at the top, this oval part. Then on the left side of the volcano, I think I may trace my clouds again. Clouds are kind of tricky. I think when you draw your clouds now, we have your box of craypas should have white in it. You can put some of those, you can use that in your clouds if you want to. I don't have white in my box, but yours will. So I'm just going to use this flesh tone again. Or I'll use actual pink. I do have some pink. Or you could use white. Also, if you want stars in the sky, you can use white or some bright color like yellow and just draw some little dots. See, I'm using yellow. I'm going to put some little dots in the blue area. If you have white, use white. It's going to be neat. The more dots you have, the neater it's going to be. And don't forget the mountain in the background. The mountain, decide what color that's going to be. So with art, you can use whatever colors you want to. You don't have to use green for grass, or yellow for sun, or brown for tree bark. Matter of fact, it gets boring when you do that. So the more colors you use, Usually, well, the wilder colors, the more creative it looks. So I have pink clouds, but they're going to be dark later, maybe, and maybe not. So I don't have that many colors in here. I need to get me get a new box. You could also, if you don't have craypas, crayons. Matter of fact, I'll open my pack of crayons. And crayons, you're going to have a lot of colors in there, a plethora of colors. So I'm going to get some, see, what is this called? Desert sand. I'm going to color the mountains in. Now crayons, you have to press harder on the paper, or else it's not going to show through when you paint it. You can use crayons and craypas. So everywhere, see here, where there's white, if I don't put any color there, it's going to end up being black, which is okay if that's what you want to happen. Now take your time. I'm using purple crayon. Now I'm just thinking about what colors might look good when I finish this thing. So remember, we are doing a batik. I said tempera batik, but we're not going to use tempera paint. Normally, I would use tempera paint because the paint is thicker. But we're just doing a batik. And which means that we're going to go over the entire sheet of paper with black when I finish. Now, I need to trace these pencil lines of my buildings. So I'm going to trace them with, I don't know, blue. Yeah, I'll trace it with blue. And I'll use some craypas so that you guys can see that you can trace it with craypas. Just use the corner of the craypas and just retrace what you already drew. You do some rectangles, and you had windows. Just your pencil, just trace over your pencil lines. Now it'll be easier with crayons because crayons are thinner. So with the craypas, you have to use the corner. So you actually learn how to draw. You gain drawing skills by using the craypas. Anytime something makes you uncomfortable when you are trying to do it, if it's not so easy, it makes you better. Okay, so it gives you more skill. So to train your skill, I want you to do things that's not easy. If what you're attempting to do is easy all the time, you will never get better. So I want you to challenge yourself, not just with art, with whatever you are doing. If you are playing basketball, challenge yourself, shoot some threes. If you are dancing, challenge yourself. If you're doing math, challenge yourself. And you will get better at it because you are not afraid of a challenge. Whatever it is. And you will gain a degree of bravery and pride in what you do. And you will grow up and be more successful. So you see how these buildings are showing up now. I just traced over my pencil lines. So I use the drawing. Every time we draw, remember, you're going to use that drawing. I'm going to trace the trees too with this blue. And the reason why I'm using blue is because it's a dark color. That's the only reason. It works. Whatever works. In art, whatever works, do it. If it don't work, don't do it. We do whatever works. When we look at it with our eyes, if we are pleased, that's all that matters. If we're not pleased, we fix it. Okay, now I need some colors over here, some color out. I'm going back to my purple crayon. This is, we call this mixed media. So Splash students, you have a mixed media pad. And the reason why I gave you those pads is because you can use all kinds of different materials on it. I'm going to put some, see, you can overlap a color. See, remember I put brown here? Now I'm going to overlap the brown with some large hash marks for the mountain in the background. I might lose this mountain, so I'm going to trace my pencil line. Tracing with a dark line is a way to make sure you don't lose what you drew. One way. There are other ways, but for what we're doing today, I say trace. I just want some yellow, so I'm using some yellow craypas. My craypas has some green on it, blue on it, and it turned green. So I clean it off a little bit. We're going to see so what I'm trying to do is just fill this up with color. Now if I had white craypas, I would put some white in here where my buildings are. So I think I'll just put some yellow there. Use yellow. The main thing is to have fun. Now, do you see why we draw large shapes? Because larger shapes are easier to color. I'm just filling in now with the yellow. So you can also draw this on larger sheets of paper. You can add things. I would like for you to do this again on your own because practice makes perfect and it's fun. I used to draw every day. And I think for anybody doing art, if you really like art, some of you want to be artists when you grow up. Art is not just for people who want to be artists though, because art is a very internal activity. it's mindfulness. And mindfulness can help you with positive energy. It can help you love yourself and think positive things. It trains you in thinking, your mind, what you allow your mind to think. So you have to meditate. It's a type of meditation when you're making art. It's very soothing. When I make art, no matter how sick I am, I forget that I'm sick while I'm painting or drawing. No matter what's wrong with me, if I'm not feeling good or I'm feeling depressed, if I start painting, I forget all about it. So you see how I'm continuing to work and to fill in, okay? So every stage that I go through, I want it to be completed. So the first stage was we drew large shapes. And even if you're painting a picture, you would paint the larger shapes first. Then you would paint details last. So we drew large shapes. We drew the cone-like shape for the volcano. And then we drew a straight line for where the earth or the land is going to be. Then we drew some wavy lines for a mountain in the background. Then we decided to draw some rectangles in a realistic form. Do you remember? For buildings. And we drew triangles and circles for trees, and we just put a line for the trunk of the tree. So you see I'm going through steps. So whenever you're making art, allow yourself the time to go through steps. Art evolves or appears or grows over time, over steps or stages, several steps or stages. I always say you should have at least 3 stages to a painting. 5 is the ultimate, but you can have 50 stages, okay? But no less than 3. You want to shoot for 5. What I'm doing now, I'm going back and doing small details. Remember I said details last? Now, I'm going to actually color in my lightning bolts. They can be yellow or white or some color that you'll be able to see. When we go over with black, see my pastels broke, I don't care, they break. I'm just going to use the point of my pastel and trace over my lightning bolt. I'm not making 2 lines now. I'm tracing the inside of the lightning bolts. And I might even put a few extra ones on here. Hopefully you'll be able to see them when we finish. So I'm going back here and put some more yellow in here. Now, like remember I said, I don't know what this is going to look like. It's an adventure making art. It is always an adventure. So, once you've done that, once you've gone through this stage, now you're going to get some paint. Oh, one more thing. Trace around your clouds. I'm using brown. You could use any color you want to. See? You can see. Because I want people to know that these are clouds. So I'm just retracing. I've already drawn it. Now I'm just tracing what I've already drawn. And it makes it stand out. I'm also going to use brown to trace my volcano, the lava. I painted it orange so I know where it is, right? So I'm just going to trace it. I can still see my pencil lines. So I'm just going over my pencil lines that's already here on the paper. And what that does, it gives my lava substance and form. It's thick. And it's running down into the city. We didn't draw any people because you can't see them. Hopefully they left the city already. Hopefully they evacuated. If not, they're in big trouble. This is a natural disaster. See, I'm using brown. You can use, I wouldn't use black. You could use black or blue, but a dark color, purple, something that you can see. You could use red. That might look even better. Do you see what I'm doing? I bet you yours look better than mine. Most of the time kids are, when we're doing this type of work, your imagination is so awesome. I'm going to trace around this oval a little bit. I just want, when we paint it, it's going to be either the last step or next to the last step. You could trace the lightning bolts. I might do that. I'm going to put some lines down here to make the lava look like it's liquid, like water. Isn't this fun? I'm having a grand old time. Okay, let's trace the pencil lines of the lightning bolts. Well, I can't, it's too skinny. So if you had, if you have crayons, you can actually trace your double lines that you use for lightning bolts. But if you color in the lightning bolts, you probably don't really need to trace it. You probably won't need to. You can also, after we paint this thing black, now it's going to be weird painting black. So I hope you're ready. Are you ready to paint yet? I'm trying to wait on some people. When you paint black, since we're using watercolors, you probably won't have too much of a problem. Just make sure that the paint is thin enough so that you can see the colors coming through. When we lay the paint on, the paint is supposed to stick to the paper. The paint, you know, we have water in the paint. Oh, by the way, put some more stars. I'm putting some yellow dots for stars. You can use white, yellow, pink, red, any color you want to. And you might not even be able to see it good, but when you put the black on, I'm putting some stars down here where my city is too. Circles. I'm making little circles. Now some of you may say, I'm going to leave my picture the way it is because I love it. And I'm afraid of messing it up. And you are welcome to do that. I really like the way my picture looks right now, but I'm brave. So I'm going to paint. I'm only going to use black. You can actually use more colors than black, but for what we're doing, we usually don't let you use black. I just wanted to do something so that you can use black. I know many of you love black. So fill your brush with water. Dip it into the paint. And this is how you apply the paint. See my brush, load your brush with water. Load the brush with water. See? Can you see this? I'm loading the brush. Keep the paint wet. You can see water. I can see black paint is wet here. The water is sitting in the paint and it's black. I want my paint thin, but not too thin, because I want it to be jet black on the paper. And this is how you paint. You barely touch the brush onto the paper, and you lightly and slowly go across. When there's no more paint coming out of your brush, you're going to see that. Then you flip your brush over when the paint has all of it has come off of one side. Don't press down on the paper. Do not press down on the paper. Go lightly. That's how it's supposed to look. The colors are showing through. Dip your brush in the water. Dip it back in the paint. We don't want the paint too thin. Right now, my paint is too thin. I'm talking loud, I know. I'm used to the class. I'm going to not talk so loud. You don't want the paint too thin, so I'm going to take some of the paint out of here. I don't want too much water in the paint. When I say, if you have too much water in the paint, it won't look good. I just want my paint black and thick, but I want to be able to just lightly touch the paper and go all the way across. I just want the paint to stick to the white, to the paper. So the wax resists the black water colored paint. Oil and water don't mix. You can look at an oil spill in the street under a car in the wintertime, and you see those pretty colors. That's because if it's been raining, the water will not mix with the oil that came from the car. So I'll turn the brush over when I need more paint. So the paint will just sit up on the paper. It'll bubble up. That's good. You're going to let that dry, by the way. So don't move your paper. Some of you, when you mess your picture up because you start moving the paper, turning it upside down and everything. No, be cool, chill, take it easy. You see? I'm just scrolling down. I'm just going to paint this whole picture. I'm going to paint this whole picture. So now I'm going to do it faster because it's almost time for us to go. You have to look at how the paint is going on. Don't just do it and think it's going to happen automatically. You are in control. You have to be brave to do this. And you know what? I'm glad we're using watercolor and not. We're using watercolors, and I'm glad. And paint your whole picture black. Now, after we go offline, after we go off the air, you continue to finish your picture. You see how mine is looking? Isn't it wonderful? Isn't this fun? I'm telling you, it has been fun painting with you today. You know, I go into my studio and we just work. I just paint and make my art. And I would go in there, and I was in the studio earlier today. And this is where I want to be. I want you to take your time with your art and just paint the whole thing black like I'm doing, you see? And what I want you to know is art is for everyone. I'll see you next time. Have a wonderful rest of this week. And and be sure to send me pictures. I may be able to give you some pointers, but most of you guys do well. I don't even have to give you any pointers, but we just want to see, and we may even share them on Facebook or YouTube. Okay, until next time. I really enjoyed you this time. Have fun.